Hello, I'm so happy that you are joining me today. My name is Megan Warren. If you are new here, I am a holistic practitioner. I work with people one-to-one or in group settings. And today's topic is such a powerful topic because it really has helped me transform different areas of my life and the power of our perspective. If we can be aware of how it shapes our emotional state and how it shapes different areas in our life and that we have the power to change it, it's everything, you guys. So really, literally, perspective is everything. Um, I actually went over this topic. This was inspired for me to talk about it on YouTube this week because I went over it with my group program. Right now, I'm running an 8-week reset program to reset your mind and your body. And this was the topic that we covered last week. And the women in the program really got a lot from it. And like I said, I did too. I did too. Every time I look at perspective and when I'm working with people, when we look at this piece of, well, how are you viewing these things that are coming up for you that are causing stress and turmoil in your life? When we change that, the stress, the turmoil, whatever the thing was, whether it be their health, their external situation, that changes when we can change our perspective. And so let's get right into it. Um, let's first look at what shapes our perspective. So I first want to start with external influences. So immediately just think about things externally that might influence the way that you look at things. What immediately comes to my mind is TV, the media, journalism, social media, TV programs, right? Whether that be movies or shows, um, reality TV, music is also very influencing. I mean, we might not be aware of some of these things, you guys, to be completely honest, we might not be aware. But if you look at this recently, I was recently become aware of this myself when I was working out one day. And I was like, if you look at the music today compared to music in the 70s, the 60s, sometimes I play like some Sam Cooke, Frank Sinatra when I'm cooking dinner. The message is so different. Like, it's changed so much with pop music and rap and all that type of music. I don't want to go on a tangent about music, but the point being is that these external influences that we are exposed to, they are doing something to our subconscious minds. And also, just looking at your external influences, who you're around, the people you work with, your family, your friends that you talk with, people that are around you, the people you grew up with, right? Your family, all of that are considered external influences. What society deems as normal, all of that stuff. So that's one big area that can shape our perspective about certain things. Another thing is our past experiences. So, say you have past experiences where you've had some breakups, right? I'm sure we all have. I know I have, and I know that they shaped a lot of my perspectives with the way that I looked at myself, right? The way that I look at the men I was dating, also looking at um, relationships as far as like what I grew up with my parents, right? So all of that can kind of influence the way that you are looking at these big areas of your life. Another one I want to talk about is just health, right? If you've gone through a journey of improving your health, whether that be you did an exercise program, maybe you wanted to clean up your diet, you did a diet program, or you've gone to a functional medicine provider, maybe you've received results in that area, but maybe it didn't work out as you would have wanted it to, or maybe you didn't find the root cause of your issues and they still kept popping up, your symptoms still kept popping up. Or maybe it's like, okay, everything is great, and then you reverted back to your old patterns and behaviors. Those past experiences can have an influence on the way that you look at a health journey or improving your health in the future. So just having that awareness that, oh my goodness, no wonder health is an obstacle for me, or it's challenging to get myself to work out or eat clean or be consistent with taking supplements and meal prep and everything like that, right? No wonder whatever you want to say in a relationship, it's hard for me to find my partner, or I keep attracting the same type of person, right? Or maybe it's like, no wonder I'm scared to look at my bank account because I emotionally spend, or whatever the case may be. The awareness of having, the awareness of looking at your external influences and these past experiences is actually giving you the power to change it. Because it always starts, anything that you want to change, it always starts with awareness. And so looking at, what is shaping my perspective about this situation can be just such a beautiful place to start. So the next thing I want to talk about is our perspectives, the way that we look at things. They're usually not, and I can't speak for everybody because some people might automatically just look at the facts. And if you're like that, I applaud you. So good. And that's where we want to go, you guys. Because when we're not just looking at the facts of a situation, we place a meaning on it. We place a narrative. We create a story around an experience or a situation, or about ourselves or other people. We create that narrative and we add a meaning based on our lens that we're looking through, based on our past experiences, based on these external influences, right? And what that creates that's what creates our emotional state. So if you are looking at something and it is through the lens of a very optimistic state, you're going to feel more positive emotion, right? Maybe you feel excited, maybe you feel grateful, maybe you feel joy, maybe you feel motivated and driven about something, right? You're wanting to really improve your health and you believe you can. And it's like, yes, let's go. On the flip side of that, our perspectives, if maybe past health programs haven't worked in the past, you might start to look at, this doesn't feel good because I know it's not going to work because it hasn't worked in the past, or I don't trust myself to be consistent with exercise, with eating clean, with really taking care of myself. I haven't made the time in the past, so why would it work now, right? And what that does is it creates more heavy emotion. And the reason why those heavy emotions happen is because that's not, and this is going to sound deep here, that's not what your soul is really meant for. It's because it's not true. You might be believing that, and what you believe, you're gonna find evidence for. You're gonna say, well, this is why that isn't gonna work, and at the same time, that can feel really heavy. This is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people are depleted and they feel so tired, because the constant chatter, the thoughts and the beliefs that they are telling themselves weighs a lot. It weighs a lot. So I want you to really get that point of like, wow, my perspective, my beliefs, my thoughts, the lens that I'm looking at this through is directly connected to the way that I'm feeling about the situation. Okay? And here's the deal. When we let our external experiences take over our mental health, so say, it is a negative situation that you are viewing this through, it's going to send you down a spiral of thinking other negative thoughts, because like I said, the mind likes to look for evidence to support whatever argument you're making in your mind. And it's also, like I said, going to affect our emotional health. So it's going to take over the mental, the emotional, effect of our health, and that gives our power away. That gives our energy away, like I mentioned. It gives our power away, and we start to think what that does is it weakens us, and it takes our energy away from us, and it gives the energy to the external thing. And so what we want to do is start to look at it in a in a different way, through a different lens or a different perspective, which is going to create a different emotional response, which is then going to make you feel more powerful and more energy in your body. Okay, I hope you're following me with that. Okay, so and another thing that I want to share about this is why two people can go through the very same situation and have a different response. Let's use, for example, the situation of like being let go from a job. You might have one person who's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? My life is over. That perspective, negative, going down the rabbit hole of fear and anxiety, scarcity. You can also have another person who's going down a completely different path, 180, who's like, yes, yes, I'm so not meant to be in that job anymore. Yes, I'm grateful it served me in the moment, in that season of my life. And now this is opening up space for me to find something that I'm meant to do next, that really aligns with my mission, with my values. Like, let's go. Let's go. Same exact situation happened, two different emotional responses because of the way that they were viewed. Okay? So really it comes down to how are you viewing your situation? What is the lens that you are interpreting it through? And what is the meaning that you are attaching to it? What is the story that you're telling yourself? And you can always tell yourself a story that is more empowering, that is more uplifting. And by the way, I'm not saying to bypass how you're feeling. If you are going through a challenging time of struggle right now, I highly encourage you to feel however you're feeling. If you're feeling sad, grief, anger, frustration, any of that, there's a healthy way to feel that and also not attach meaning to it. So I just want to make sure that I make that very clear. And the whole point, and this is something that I really believe in and I work with my one-on-one clients and group programs with is this energy giving or is it energy depleting? And I will come back to that time and time again because really most people are unaware that their thoughts and their beliefs are doing a whole lot of draining of their energy. It's very energy depleting. When you can learn how to hack this and change the way you're looking at things, you're automatically going to feel difference in your energy. So that's what I invite you to start to look at. And so maybe, if we make this tangible, maybe I want you to pick one area of your life right now that might seem a little challenging. And I, gave you some examples at the beginning: health, finances, relationships, career, spirituality, friends, community, things like that. Picking one area and starting to look at the facts only, starting to look at, and here's an example of what I mean by that. If you are, let's say, I'm going to use just a very basic example. You're looking outside and you see that it starts raining, it starts downpouring. Looking at that situation, looking at the facts only, someone would say, it's raining outside, right? There's no attached meaning to that. Everyone would agree that, okay, it's raining outside. Now, if I attach the meaning of it's raining outside, that means that I can't do what I had planned for the day, which means I'm going to have a bad day, which means nothing works out as I planned. That right there, attaching the meaning to an external situation, is going to cause you to think certain ways and feel a certain way because of those thoughts. So I hope that's like an easy generic example to give. Now I want you to think of like a big core area of your life where you start to notice like what are your beliefs about this area? What do you believe is possible? If you like, let's say debt, that's, I feel like that can be a good one, right? If you look at this as like, oh my gosh, I can't seem to pay off this debt. It feels like I've tried everything and I can't seem to do it. I want you to look at the facts only. I have some debt. This is the amount, and that's it. Right? Would you agree that that's true? Yes. Same thing if we looked at health. Like, say you want to lose 10 pounds. Okay. My weight is this. This is the number. The number that I want to lose is 10 pounds. And notice if the mind starts to go into story, if the mind starts to go into a narrative, if it starts to attach meaning, if it starts to look for evidence why you can't lose the 10 pounds, why you can't get out of the debt. Okay? So the next part of this I want you to notice is if you are attaching meaning, does it feel heavy or does it feel light? This is a tool that I use all the time with my clients. I love it. I use it with myself. Does it feel heavy or does it feel light? If it feels light, that means you are speaking truth into what your soul is really knowing to be true. A lot of the times, if you're telling yourself, I have 10 pounds to lose, and it's going to be really challenging to lose that because I've been trying for a year and I still haven't done it. Whew, that feels heavy, right? It feels hard. It feels impossible. It feels like I've already tried everything I know. I don't know what else to do. So that's not true. Yes, it may be true that you've been trying for a year, but what's not true is that you're not able to do it. Okay, that's what feels heavy. Okay, and yes, it might feel heavy that you've been trying for a year, and there might be some sadness there, right? But there's probably a lot of judgment there. I could have done more. I could have done it better, right? And so, anyway, I'm not going to go into all of that. Those are just a whole lot of beliefs that are stacking up. But the point is, if you can just start to look at it as the facts, this is what is, and this is what I want to happen. What happens is the mind will then start to open and look for evidence of how that can happen. And maybe it's something you never tried before. Maybe it's like, let's go to the health issue. Maybe it's working with a practitioner to run some lab testing. Maybe you've never run lab testing, maybe you have. But finding an alternative approach to losing the 10 pounds. There's so many different things that you can do. Maybe it's the stress that you're under and just finding that stress management tool that's going to allow the body to feel safe so that you can not have elevated cortisol levels all the time. Maybe that is really the secret, which that is a lot. If we can just calm down our stress, support all of our hormones, the weight drops off. Same thing with just starting to have cultivated better relationship with our body, better relationship with our health. The weight magically starts to fall off, right? It's not always about how I want to circle this back to society, what society teaches us. Do more, exercise more, you're not doing enough. No, like that feels heavy, right? So going back to, kind of got on the tangent there, but going back to just looking at the facts can create more neutral emotions around the situation. And what that does is it helps to use our energy towards more mental clarity. When we have the energy and we're not in a fight-flight response, we're able to have a clearer mind. Our organ systems are able to function more optimally, which means we're digesting our food better. Our hormones are going to be more regulated. We're going to have more mental clarity, like I said. And that's when the ideas start to come through, right? that's when you start to feel more of the motivation to do the things you need to do. A lot of times people know how to take care of themselves, but they're so disconnected from listening within. And so if we just start to look at the facts, that can help us open up that aperture of the mind to see things in a completely different way. Now, the last part of this that I want to share with y'all is the work from Byron Katie. This is something that I learned in my Master Method coaching. She is known for a process, and it is, well, I'll go into that in a second, but she is known for a process to walk you through questioning of your belief or your thought to see a different way of looking at it, to look at it in a completely new way. Her work is called The Work. That's her process. And she also has a book called Loving What Is. With this process, I'm just going to run through what the process looks like. We're not going to do one. It's kind of hard to do that without working with someone one-on-one, but this is some of the work that I do with people to help them clear the gunk from their mind, clear their perspective to start to see in a completely new way. So the first part of this is looking at questioning if, without a shadow of a doubt, the belief or thought is 100% true. Like 100%. Okay, that's the first part of this. Then you look at when you believe this thought, what happens? What are the behaviors that you do? What are the thoughts that you think? Like when you think it's going to be so hard for me to lose 10 pounds. I should have lost this last year when I tried. When you believe that thought, what are the behaviors? What are the behaviors that you do? Well, I go into the pantry and I start eating more. I numb out, right? I disassociate. I start to judge myself, get really critical towards myself. What emotions come up? I feel frustrated. I feel like it's not fair. I feel conflicted and confused because the things that I'm doing now just aren't working the way they used to. So it's just really seeing when you believe this thought, when you are focused, zoomed in on this one belief, this is what you do. This is what happens. This is the pattern. Are you following me? Then you start to look at, how do you treat yourself? How do you treat other people when you're believing this belief? That can be really eye-opening. And the next part is looking at, who would you be without this thought? If you no longer have this, if we just completely dissolved this thought, this belief, what would change for you? How would that feel in your body going back to heavy and light? And the last part of this is you turn the thought around. You start to look at it from a completely different way. So if the belief is, I should have lost this 10 pounds a year ago, the flipping the thought around would be, I should not have lost the 10 pounds a year ago. Now you might be like, what? No, I should have lost it. I'm going to argue about this. And that's not the point. The point is to find evidence of why you shouldn't. Okay, well, I was under a tremendous amount of stress. I moved. And it's not just making excuses, by the way, but it's really looking at why you didn't. Take full responsibility. I wasn't consistent with working out. I was eating crap, right? Just own it. Own it. And you start to see, okay, I shouldn't have lost the 10 pounds last year, right? And what that does is it starts to help you see what you need to do moving forward or another way to approach it. If you really want to lose the 10 pounds, it's going to show you okay, X, Y, and Z. This is where I can start. And this work is super powerful. And what it helps you do is it helps you look at things in a completely different perspective. It will change your emotional state. And a lot of times it can make you just feel more emotionally neutral towards the situation, right? And it allows more compassion for yourself, for other people, which is amazing. If you can start to be really just more compassionate with yourself and understanding, because I know that most people out there just really want the best for themselves and other people, whether they show it or not. They just don't know how to do that, right? So it starts with, first, like I had mentioned, becoming aware of what is my perspective about this. How am I feeling emotionally towards this? And emotions, you guys, if they are heavy, considering you're not going through like something really traumatic right now, even that, I mean, I'm not going to go into that, but if you're feeling emotionally challenged about a situation, let's say your health, um, it's a red flag that the beliefs that you're thinking are not aligned with your highest good, if that makes sense. So that's the opportunity to say, okay, I get to start to look at this in a new way. Maybe I need to feel these emotions first, and then I can start to see this in a different way to help me feel lighter, to help me see this as a more empowering way, which will ultimately help my mental health, my emotional health, physical health, and the situation that we're dealing with. So, okay, I hope this was helpful for you today. I enjoyed talking about this, and leave me a comment below. What was something that changed your perspective today about this? If you need support in this area, let me know also. This is what I help people with. This is one way that I help people um, with their health this really does support the stress response like nothing else. If we can start to change our perspective about this, we free up a lot of extra pressure that we put on ourselves or other people, and it's a game changer. Okay, guys, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you later.